Well, guys, in football, as we all know, you lose one game, and it sets you behind the 8 ball. If you lose 2 games, you're done in the regular season. Well, in college basketball, it's not quite that way. Not only is it not that way, but you face each team in conference twice before you even get to a conference championship tournament, before you even make the NCAA tournament. And it's that time again, folks, for basketball season. Hoop season in Norman. 2 games this week to preview. Texas San Antonio will be in town. And a midweek and a late game week with Richard Paterno. That's Rick Paterno's son. And Minnesota and the Gophers in a neutral site game. Tell you all about it. Coming up next, Boomers Year 1982. Don't go away! Welcome back to the basketball preview show, everybody, of week 1 of men's hoops, at least on the men's side. On the men's side, the Sooners will face Texas San Antonio, the Roadrunners, and in a midweek game. And the late game this week, it will be against Minnesota and the Golden Gophers in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. All right, here we go. First of all, Texas San Antonio. UTSA, that's 17-15 for UTSA last season. 11-7 in Big 12 in Conference USA action. Alabama Birmingham, that was their last game last season. They lost 85-76 in the Conference USA quarterfinal tournament round. Their head coach, Steve Henson, 1990 grad, and a Lon Kruger person from 1990, Kansas State Wildcat, played for Coach K, our Coach K that is, and is in his 3rd year holding his own weight at Texas San Antonio. Returning for UTSA this season, Javali Jackson and Keaton Wallace. Now, Cavalli Jackson averaging 22.9 points per ball game last year for the Roadrunners, not terribly bad. 4.1 boards, 2.4 assists per ball game last year for the Roadrunners of UTSA. Also, Keaton Wallace averaging 20.2 points per ball game, 5.0 rebounds, and 2.4 assists per ball game last year for the UTSA Roadrunners. Now, speaking of coaching and having Hall of Fame at least in basketball, Rick Paterno is one of them. His son, Richard Paterno, he's in charge of the Minnesota Golden Gophers, and that's who the Sooners will play in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. The Golden Gophers last year finished with a 25-9 overall record. They won 16 of 14 games in the Big Ten before losing to Big Ten rival Michigan State in his 70-50 win in the loss in the second round of the NCAA tournament. Their coach, Richard Paterno, 2005 grad from Providence, of course, son of Rick Paterno. And Richard, this Paterno, is in his 6th year in charge of the Gophers that are golden. 2 double-figure scores returning for this Paterno, version of a Paterno. Daniel Ataru and Gabe Kachir returning. We'll start with Daniel Oturo. 10.8 points per ball game for Oturo. 7.0 boards. 0.5 assists per ball game last year for the Golfers of Minnesota Golden Gophers. Sorry about that. Tongue twister there. What about Coucher? 10.0 points per ball game, 2.0 boards, 1.1 assists per ball game last year for the Minnesota Golden Gophers. I got it right that time. And what about the Crimson and Cream of Oklahoma? 20-4, 11-7 in Big 12 play. Their head coach, Lon Kruger, 1974 grad from Kansas State, 9th season in charge of the Crimson and Cream. Lost in the second round to Ole Miss, 73-51. And they have not one, but two double-digit scorers. And both of them play with the Oklahoma heart on their chest, being Okies from Muskogee, baby. One of them, 35, Brady Manick. The other, 21, Christian Doolittle, who does a lot for the Sooners. Like that little pun there? We'll start with Manick, averaging 12.2 points per ball game last year for the Sooners, 5.9 boards, and 0.8 assists per ball game last year for the Sooners of OU. Also, Christian Doolittle, who does a lot, in fact, was the most improved player last season for the Sooners, averaging, at the end of the season, 11.3 points per ball game, 5.9 boards, and 1.6 assists per ball game last year for the Sooners of Oklahoma. In fact, Doolittle did a lot for the Sooners, so much that it wasn't only Oklahoma that noticed his big jump in numbers once coming back from the academic suspension, but also the Big 12 made a notice, making him the most improved player in the Big 12 conference, voted by the other coaches, not just Lon Kruger. All right, guys, that'll do it for this week in Sooner Hoops. Next week, another preview. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, or you want to see the football game preview or reviews, go ahead. Check them out on Boomer Sooner 1982 on my YouTube casts. They're also up on my Facebook account, Harry James Taylor, or on Twitter, @HypeManHarry. All right, guys, that will do it for basketball of men's hoops. I'm out of here. Peace to you. I'm out. Bye. Boomer Sooner, guys.